All right, so good greetings wherever you are, and you're welcome to my science journey. I'm doing this specifically for a reason upon a request, and I just want to share it. And if you happen to come across it, it may help you in your science journey as well. We all started from somewhere, and we are somewhere right now. So we share the stories just to inspire others. All right, so my science journey is quite an interesting one, depending on the story which is at stake. I promise you to listen and you will get inspired. All right, so this is basically what I have. And so this is how the science journey all started. My name is Biigba Bright, and I'm currently, pursuing my PhD degree at Komikuma University of Science and Technology in Ghana. But how did it all start? Just like that? How did it start? Well, those who know me and those maybe who might have, been in the same class with me, some of them might be surprised, others will not too, will not be surprised. Because my science journey actually started not from science. I started with science. It got to a point that I had to move away from science and then venture into other areas. And I came back to science at the same time. So, so this is my home village. This is where I come from. If I can use the cursor, this is my home village. And of course, in the past, and this is currently how it is because sanitation has improved so much. Of course, this is the village school, and this is how we attended village schools. And of course, when we're growing up, how to be able to take care of yourself and how to be able to fund for your education had always been a struggle. And this is just an illustration of how the struggle is. This is me plowing, and of course, myself also riding a bicycle, trying to push hard somewhere. That's how the science journey started. I actually came from this particular place. The home region called Najo number 2 is located in the northeast region of Ghana, and we share borders with Togo, and that's where I come from. But currently, I reside in Kumasi. All right, so that's how the science journey started. It started from here, and this is how I started schooling from just one single room, classroom, and then it moved on from there. So, growing up as a child, my ambitions was always to make sure that what is it? I wanted to be a bus driver. Yeah, I said I wanted to be driving a bus, of course. And then somewhere big, and the reason was that I just couldn't fathom why the tires are rotating. I'll see somebody kind of like winding uh, a circuit, and then the engine is moving or the car is moving. It was kind of fascinating, and I wanted to be one. Then somewhere along the line, I developed interest in architecture, and as you can see uh, over there, and of course, the passion that hasn't left me till date is radio station. And I can also say that I wanted to know why is that somebody could sit somewhere and talk, and another person can hear the person from somewhere. So the notion has always been like kind of curiosity. I've always been a very curious person. I want to know why things happen the way they do, and I never knew that it was somehow forming the basis for my science. So it paved the way for me to ask that question: is what is science education about? What when we talk about science education, what exactly are we talking about? So science education is simply that it's about curiosity, about factual proofs and then fulfillment. Maybe you are curious about something, you want to find out the proof of why the thing happened the way they do. For instance, a mosquito bites two people. One get malaria, the other one does not get. So your curiosity will find out, these people sleep in the same room. How come that one gets malaria, the other one doesn't get? Or the same people, they walk under the sun. One gets maybe skin cancer, the other one does not. So some of these disparities, if you are somebody who is curious, you may want to find out why they do happen. And those form the basis for you to try to want to venture into science because science can actually prove why some of those disparities do happen. So that was what science is about. It's not about money. If you want to make money, science is not the right place for you. And so, how did the trajectory all started? In high school, I actually studied agricultural science, and then including chemistry, physics, and elective mathematics. But I decided to study biology on my own, and I wrote the exam on it, and then I was able to make it. So from there, I could have gone to the university straight, but in Ghana here, what are the facilities to support myself at the university at that particular point was quite serious, so I couldn't. So I ended up in teacher training college, and to be precise, Bagabaga College of Education in Tamale. And at that place, they were running courses. So you could either study environmental science, that's social studies, or you study science, pure science, and technical skills. So, and I decided to study pure science. It means that when I come out as a teacher, I was going to be teaching pure science. So I ventured into that at the training college. So, and I moved from there after training college. When I completed training college, I, what is it? I was sent straight to a classroom, and then I also taught science, including all aspects of science. You can talk about the biology, the chemistry, the physics, the integrated science, and whatsoever. Then I also taught ICT, that's information communication technology, and I also taught mathematics. But little did I know that the three of them, science, ICT, and mathematics, come together would one day form a basis for my interest in bioinformatics. So I didn't know that I was initiating actually a process to become a bioinformatician in the future, maybe some 10, 15 years later. So from there, after teaching in the classroom for like 1.5 years, I decided to move away from the job to further my education. So I applied to come and do architecture at KNUST, and I did not get the opportunities to do architecture. So I ended up doing agricultural science. And in tech, they run their programs in such a way that when you are getting to third year, then you specialize or you now focus on a specific area, and then when you specialize in that. So agri is very broad. You have mechanization, you have crop science, you have soil science, you have animal science, you have horticulture, we have post-harvest technology, and of course, you also have agricultural economics and agribusiness. So getting to final year, I decided to opt for agricultural economics. And I always say this in the form of a lighter weight that somebody actually inspired me, and that's a man who kept on, analyzing economic issues of the country. I know when we're talking about a country, we're practically talking about economics. When we're talking about economy, how country is being run, the policies that have been made is all about economics. So I developed interest during my time as a teacher, listening to radio almost every day because I was in a rural area teaching and there's nothing. So you have to listen to news in the evening to entertain yourself. So I got so enticed into it. So I decided to pursue agricultural economics. And so I did my agricultural economics. And when I came out of the university, there wasn't any job. So I decided to do another aspect of economics called globalization and then the classical economics. This is about like thinking the real time economics and then how it affects daily life, day in, day out, decisions people make and whatsoever. So first degree, it was BSc Agricultural Economics, KNUSC here that I came up with. So how did all after that first degree, I, I decided to enter into a job market again, and I decided to work with global communities and USAID, and the program was Ring, and the project was actually CLTS, Community-Led Total Sanitation. I was a consultant, field consultant. I worked with with them for like almost 2 years before I left. So, and the project was about malnutrition, but we had to look at what there is deficiency in, or the deficiency in nutrition in that aspect. Some people may not be having enough, food to eat. Some may have, but other exigencies may make them to be unable to have sufficient nutrient to supplement their diet or to supplement their energy requirement. So we came up with this particular project called Community-Led Total Sanitation. And what we were doing, or the entire program was RING, that's resiliency in Northern Ghana. So the whole project had some aspect of making sure that we help communities to have enough income, women to have enough income, so that they don't eat dirt, they don't eat their own feces. So we established what is small toilets in their communities to make sure that open defecation come to an end. because some people eat well, but when they take fecal matter as part of the food, then everything they run diarrhea and lose all the nutrient. So I worked with them, and then it was practically like science because we're dealing with environmental anthropology, which I now know that when we are doing metagenomics, I now know that yeah, it comes into play. So we were looking at organisms and other things that can cause some kind of diseases like enteropathy, environmental related diseases. But little did I know that one day I'll be sequencing some of them. That's how it is. So, in the course of that, there was a workshop organized in KNUST by West African Sustainable Leadership Innovative Training West in Bioinformatics Research. That was Libre. It was a project under what is it? Human Hereditary and Health Africa. That's H3 Africa. One of their projects in West Africa here, spearheaded by University of Ghana. Sorry, University of Science and Technology (KNUST), and of course Covenant University in Nigeria. So that workshop was organized in Kumasi here, specifically in KNUST. And then, coincidentally, I happened to be part of that workshop, and it had a team that linking genomics to diseases. So the workshop was about using genomic science to explain the onset of diseases or how disease come about, to be able to understand the relationship between genomics and then diseases. So I sat throughout the workshop for like 2 weeks, and I got so fascinated. And because I had already had some, knowledge about science, a little bit of agricultural science, where I studied animal genetics, animal breeding, physiology, and anatomy, and whatsoever, it wasn't all that new to me. But because I had moved into economics and had become so lured into economic analysis on radio and then TV, I was kind of like had lost grips with science with time. But the workshop brought that kind of vibe and interest in my science again. So right after the workshop, I decided to, and I'm venture into do a master's program, and I applied straight to come and do my MPhil, Masters of Philosophy in what is it, in genomics, and my interest was on what is it, genomic science, and of course, bioinformatics. So I started thinking about genomic science as well, was also thinking about bioinformatics. Coincidentally, KNUST combined the two. The bioinformatics come in the form of training, professional training, where we have the intermediary training to bioinformatics and then introduction to bioinformatics. So I went through the two, and I went through another one called accreditation. So that was during the master's program. So I combined all. So the genomics, the master's program I did, the title was what it MPhil Biodata Analytics and Computational Genomics. And I kept on saying that there's a difference between computational what is it, biology, and then bioinformatics. Computational biology is actually like using mathematical principles to model biological events. But when you are looking at bioinformatics, you're actually looking at the causal, you are looking at the specific areas like the causal gene or the gene that are compromised, the allele that are compromised. You want to know in details what might be the cause, or what might be whether there's a variant, there is a mutation somewhere, or there's a SNP that has been compromised. You just want to find out the exact cause of the thing, not necessarily modeling and then maybe doing a prediction. So I got the opportunity to come and do my master's here, and then that was a master's in what is it, MPhil, let me just say, Masters of Philosophy. I've already mentioned that. So that's how it is. So I came, I had to be doing the course content and then also do my research work. So my research work, I actually started working on microbiome. Wanted to actually know the contribution of microbiome to onset of diseases. So we had done some kind of analysis to a point. We narrowed down to one specific microbiome, and that's Helicobacter pylori. We all know that is one of the most studied bacteria in the world because almost 52% of the world population are living with this particular bacteria. So it was important for us to look at it. So at a point, my what is it? My boss realized that no, that's my supervisor. There was a need for us to study it separately. So a colleague of mine did the microbiome aspect, and then I did the what is it? The genomics aspect of it. So my thesis focused on comparative analysis of Helicobacter pylori isolates. So we decided to assemble as many as Helicobacter pylori isolates from across Africa, and we decided to compare them to use the genomics approaches or bioinformatic tools to compare them to see where there are differences. Because we were doing this based on the fact that many people had thought of the fact that if you are having any disease that is bioinformatic, that is caused by Helicobacter pylori, possibly the immediate or what you can do as fast as possible is to get antibiotics. But these antibiotics are no longer working. Why? Because we assume that the bacteria is the same, but our analysis have shown that the bacteria they are not the same. In fact, there's 90% diversity in all H. pylori isolates. So treating them uniformly or all of them giving them antibiotics is not all that a good idea. And of course, some studies in Ghana have also shown that about 80% of the antibiotics we are using in Ghana here have become obsolete. And I'm sure this might not be different from other African countries. So it's about time we actually could find out whether which of the antibiotics are no longer effective against the bacteria. And of course, we can make a clear case for modern epidemiology. So that was it. My studies focused on that. And then from there, when I completed the MPhil, so the interest for bioinformatics had already heightened. So I decided to continue with my PhD. And then yeah, so this was my thesis. I actually presented this work at the third was Libre TAC meeting, and that was somewhere in April. I presented my work there. I was quite appreciated. So I decided to move on, then apply to continue with my PhD, and then I got admission into KNUST, and that's the pathway to KNUST. Back again to do my PhD in biodata analytics and computational biology. But this time around, the interest has changed a bit from comparative genomics into biogeographical ancestry. And I'm saying that I got that idea, or that idea came because of other inspiration. I've already said that naturally, for science, for you to be able to do science, you must be moved by some curiosity, or you might be moved by some kind of instinct to solve a particular problem that you think, or you want to find out why some things happen the way they do. So I noticed that in Ghana here, what is conflicts is one of our biggest issue. A lot of conflict about tribal conflict, tribal wars up and down. And you just realize that the people who think they are different, they are actually not different. You see, people think that, what is it? Okay, you belong to this tribe, you belong to this community, you belong to this family, you belong to this ethnicity. But in a nutshell, we are actually one person. You see, if we can actually trace our evolutionary tree, we realize that we are more related than we are divided. So if you look at this as Ghana map, and you can see that in Ghana, the population can be narrowed to just two groups, the Gul people and that of the Kwa people. The Kwa are the south, and then the Gul are to the north, which forms about 5 regions, and here we have about 11 regions. So that is how Ghana, the entire population, the 101 ethnic groups we have, that's how they have been grouped and still have proven. But what we need to establish more that all this division has been artificial. We do not have a specific algorithm for now for population descriptors in Africa. So what we intend to do is that all this thing about this is the tribe, this is this, they all come through genetic drift, where we have gene fixation and gene what is extinction. So we need to come out with a tool that will allow people to know that they are more related, or that can allow people to understand how related they are, and then how they are divided. And apart from that, we also notice that there are some variants that run in some families or in some country. So when you are dealing with a specific disease that is of late quite common, like hypertension, we should be able to trace whether resistant hypertension is much common in a particular group or not. So we want to use this particular study to see whether we can actually find out the countries of Ghanaians and then be able to trace specific variants and predict whether this particular candidate or this particular group of people are they likely to develop this kind of disease based on the variants we are seeing and then the expression of those genes and then going forward. So those are the things that we might be doing as far as this PhD is concerned. We've already started doing meta-analysis for now, and then we hope to complete the work successfully. So, and that's another area of my science that I have moved in. So, and that's the topic I'm going to be working on. And of course, so the summary of my science journey has been that I actually moved from, from education where I did my diploma in education at what Bagabaga College of Education, and then I moved on to come and do my first degree, and that was in agricultural economics. I'm still very proud of it because it's actually kind of helped me a lot. And then I moved to do my MPhil. That's where I actually focus on biodata analytics and computational biology. And of course, my study area was on comparative genomics. And of course, now PhD, where my study area is actually based on biogeographical ancestry, that's population genetics, using GWAS and then polygenic risk score analysis. So now, this is the academic triangle. I think I've already spoken about this. I'm not going to waste your time on that. So, what are the research areas that I've been involved in? So, I have been involved in quite a number of them. What is it? My first one ever was how to stimulate kids to develop their interest in studying pre-technical skills. Then I was also involved in disparities in resource acquisition and then the impact on tomato productivity. That was my economics thesis. Then I also was involved in positive practices for improving child survival. That was when I was working in the field. And then the elimination of malnutrition using community-led total sanitation, microbiome studies, cerebral spinal meningitis, which is quite common in Ghana. Currently, comparative genomic analysis of Helicobacter pylori, and of course, I'm also now into biogeographical ancestry of Ghanaian group people and their risk of developing hypertension. So those are the research works. Of course, I'm saying that before I end, we need to look at what are some of the tenets if you have to be in sciences. I'm saying that number one is that sacrifice. We must be ready to give up some luxuries and pleasures and make time to study. If you want to be in science, science is not a course that you can just study at once because things are changing every day. Even as humans or as living things as we are growing. We are losing cells, we are gaining new ones, and then the body functions, the organs and their functions are changing as we go ahead or as we progress in life. So we have to consistently be studying and be getting new information, new findings, and be incorporating it in our own studies to make sure that we improve the human existence. So you have to sacrifice. First of all, you must sacrifice if you have to be a scientist or if you want to be in the science. It's not an area that you can play around. Like you want to go for club, you want to, have all the fun and go to luxury places and enjoy. It's not that bad, but you don't make it a habit. You just have to sacrifice those things. Sacrifice to sit up late in the night to study. Of course, you must also have the passion. Sometimes if you don't have passion to do science, it's better you don't try it at all because if you do, it's going to be something else. So passion, you must have the passion for it. And of course, the readiness to learn a lot over a short period of time. Yeah, that was what has actually helped me. I had to learn a lot of things over a short period of time. New things are coming. Bioinformatics hasn't been around for a long time. It just came quite not long ago. So, and it's a new thing. You have to learn and then be part of it. And even as bioinformatics has come, data science has also erupted. So now we're using machine learning approaches, AI, deep learning to be able to understand what is the genome. When NGS machines came, I'm talking about next generation sequencing, we realized that we have to now move away from learning back, microbes using the culture method into now sequencing them and getting their genome and studying them right away. So you should be ready to learn things over a short period of time. You don't have time of luxury to use 4 years to understand something. Right. So, and asking the foolish questions. Yeah. Don't be shy. If you want to know something, if you want to really know something, don't be shy to ask the foolish questions. Whether in a meeting, whether in a workshop or whatsoever. Don't sit on your own interest and be thinking that, okay, when I ask the question to be foolish. No, there's no foolish question. It's only the one who want to answer the question if he doesn't understand. Every question, there's a persona, and there's no foolish question. So ask the many questions. If you are with your colleagues, ask those questions. Let them laugh at you, but let it says that they answer you. It improves a lot. You have to be ready to be versatile. You have to make sure that, you don't limit yourself to just one side. You must know at least. You must know some area in bioinformatics, some area in biology, some area in microbiology, some area in chemistry, some area in ICT, statistics, and mathematics. You have to be versatile. If you are somebody who are quite restricted to one place, it will get to a point that you won't be able to move, because science is like the human organ. It's full of tissues, full of cells that come together to make the organ function well. Now, knowledge transfer. I keep saying that, you see, education is like the human body. It's quite related. I studied agricultural economics, but I can tell you that there are some aspects of agri-economics that I'm using currently in science. You won't believe it. Agri-economics is about interpreting data, interpreting your data, analyzing your data and interpreting the results. The results come in the form of table, it comes in the form of graphs, it comes in the form of chart and whatsoever. You should be able to appreciate the graphs and then interpret them appropriately. Trust me, if you run your data, your genomic data, and then graphs come out, and then you want to compete with me interpretation, within a short time, I can interpret the whole thing. And there was a time my boss even asked me how I'm able to do that very fast. And I keep saying it's because of the economics background. Economics about interpreting graphs. So that's a knowledge transfer. I pick that particular knowledge of how to, if I see a line going this way, if I see points gathered at one place, what does it mean? Clusters together, are they similar, or they are diverse and whatsoever. The same way, when I run my data, my PCA, and then I notice that, okay, I see this particular group here, I see another group here, I see something in the middle, I can interpret it using the same background I was having. So knowledge transfer is very important. You can transfer knowledge from chemistry into biology. You can transfer biology to chemistry, elective maths to knowledge transfer is very important, and that's why versatility also comes in. And of course, I keep saying that what is it? Never think that all that you know is all that you need to be able to survive in this world. I mean, some of us, we live in that kind of delusion, thinking that all we know is all that is required. No, you can never know all. So consult others, tap knowledge from other people, from your colleagues. Maybe what is it? What I was running my data, I couldn't get a code. The code couldn't run. I asked my friend, "How am I going to get this code to run?" Then he comes to my aid, and it works for me. That's how it is. You tap knowledge from other people, and then what is it? It helps you to be able to run your, what is it? To study your science. You can't just be a repository of knowledge. You need to tap from other people, tap from friends. Yes, so that has been my science journey so far. As I mentioned, my name is Biigba Bright Yakubu, and I'm currently a PhD student or a candidate in biodata analytics and computational biology at KNUST. I want to thank you for your attention, and I'd like to acknowledge Fogati International Center, and of course, National Institute for Mathematical Sciences, NIMS Ghana, and then West African Sustainable Leadership Innovative Training in Bioinformatics Research, that was Libre, and to all those who have actually supported me, my colleagues, my supervisor, and the rest of the people who have always been there for me. I want to say thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. So, and that has been my science journey. My name, as always, is Biigba Bright. Thank you. I'll leave you here, and then this video will be available at all time. Thank you, and God bless you wherever you are. See you.